Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and today we're going to jump right into our fourth stimulus package and news update. In today's update, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, valued all the way up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so a deal has finally been reached for allowing Democrats to raise the debt ceiling. Previously, Mitch McConnell and other Republicans insisted Democrats would need to raise the debt ceiling through a reconciliation package. Then, after Democrats refused to do so, they needed to come up with a different solution. So yesterday, the two sides reached a deal where Democrats could vote to raise the debt ceiling, and with just a simple majority in the Senate, they would have enough votes for it to pass.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. As you already know, and I'm sure have been talking about, the House is going to send over today a bill that prevents Medicare cuts that would otherwise go into effect, and a procedure that Senator Schumer and I have been working on that will allow a truncated consideration of what could be a Section 301 reconciliation proposal, one time only, with a debt, with an amount, and allow the debt ceiling to be dealt with on a simple majority basis at a subsequent time. I think this is in the best interest of the country by avoiding default. I think it is also in the best interest of Republicans who feel very strongly that the previous debt ceilings that we agreed to when President Trump was here carried us through August. And this current debt ceiling is indeed about the future and not about the past. So I believe we've reached here a solution to the debt ceiling issue that's consistent with Republican views of raising the debt ceiling for this amount at this particular time, and allows the Democrats to proudly own it, which they're happy to do.
Now usually, bills in the Senate need at least 60 votes to pass, which would have required at least 10 Republicans to vote in favor of it. Now, as long as all 50 Democrats vote in favor, Vice President Kamala Harris will be the tiebreaker, and they will be able to get it through. However, for this to happen, lawmakers in the Senate must first vote on that procedure on Thursday, which will require at least 60 votes. This means at least 10 Republicans will need to say they'll be fine with Democrats raising the debt ceiling with a simple majority, rather than having to use a reconciliation package in doing so. And so far, Mitch McConnell, Roy Blunt, and John Cornyn have all said they would vote in favor of this procedure to take place, which means they'll still need 7 more Republicans to get on board. This will be a win for both parties, as Republicans can now say Democrats acted alone in raising the debt ceiling, which is a win politically speaking. And of course, it's also a win for the Democrats because, well, they won't have to go through the long, painful process, which is reconciliation. Still though, Mitch McConnell has been receiving a lot of heat from conservatives who say in a way he's still helping Democrats raise the debt ceiling. Here is McConnell's response to his critics.
Well, the red line is intact. The red line is that you have a simple majority party line vote on the debt ceiling. That's exactly where we will end up.
But some of those Republicans are upset with you. Thought you had leverage this time, said you had leverage back in October, and disappointed in this kind of parliamentary arpeggio.
There are a lot of different voices, but the facts are not in dispute. This will lead to a simple majority, up or down vote on raising the debt ceiling.
Leader McConnell, why even have a 60-vote requirement to have the debt ceiling if you're willing to go through this level of legislative gymnastics to create a whole new law?
Yeah, let me go over it again. The debt ceiling agreed to in the previous administration in conjunction with the Speaker in a negotiated bipartisan way covered the debt ceiling through August of this year. This debt ceiling request has to do with the future, not the past. It's pretty clear that Senate and House Republicans do not like this massive amount of spending, whether it was the American Rescue Plan of almost $2 trillion or the reckless tax and spending spree now. So we want to make it clear that we do not support this level of spending, nor the level of debt required to support this amount of new spending.
Senator McConnell.
Senator McConnell, how did this go over in your conference? And do you feel like you have 10 Republican votes to pass this change?
There are always differences of opinion among Republicans about how to handle a delicate issue like the debt ceiling. We'll be voting on it Thursday, and I'm confident that this particular procedure, coupled with the avoidance of Medicare cuts, will achieve enough Republican support to clear the 60-vote threshold. And then later, when the majority leader decides to have the procedure, it can all occur in one day, and the actual debt ceiling vote will be done at a 51-vote threshold.
Yesterday, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer gave an update on the Build Back Better bill, with Schumer still having hopes of passing that bill before Christmas, though have less than 3 weeks to do so. And now that it looks like they may have the debt ceiling out of the way, they'll soon be able to turn their focus back towards the Build Back Better Act. Here is Senator Schumer's update on where he sees this bill going over the next few weeks.
Now, let me go back now to Build Back Better. So, Senate Democrats are focused on passing the Biden Build Back Better bill before Christmas, and I'm joined by Senators Casey and Warnock. Senator Duckworth was supposed to be here, but still at the White House, I believe, but is part of what may get here a little later. Now, no one ever said passing a bill of this magnitude would be easy or would be quick, but getting this across the finish line will be worth all the long days and late nights for one simple reason. And that is, at its core, Build Back Better is the most significant step Congress has taken in decades to help American families lower costs, cut taxes for working and middle-class Americans, and invest in good-paying jobs while fighting the climate crisis. It's that simple. Build Back Better will make it cheaper for parents to raise their kids by providing the largest investment in child care in American history. It'll help our economy. Wherever you go, you hear about shortages of labor. One of the main reasons is inadequate child care. By expanding child care, we're going to help parents get back to work and expand the labor force in a very significant way. For the first time ever, America will get pre-K. That could save parents up to $8,600 a year per child. And Build Back Better will also extend the child tax credit that Democrats passed under the American Rescue Plan. This simple lifeline, $300 check in the mail for each child each month, has been a game changer to cut poverty in half. Build Back Better will also help the most at-risk Americans have some stability by providing the largest investment in public housing ever, and it'll save Americans even more money by making prescription drugs like insulin, which has skyrocketed in cost, cheaper. Build Back Better takes the long overdue steps to fight the climate crisis, which costs our country tens of billions of dollars each year. And we're going to put millions of people to work in good-paying jobs to help fight that crisis, with an emphasis on poorer people and people of color who will get job training and uplift our whole economy that way. We're going to continue working to get things done before the Christmas holiday.
So Schumer highlights many of the measures currently in the Build Back Better package, including the extension of the monthly child tax credit payments. Speaking of those, the final payment will be sent out next Wednesday on the 15th. One thing Schumer failed to mention is their current debate over the state and local tax deduction. This has been one thing Democrats have been heavily debating on, and one issue Republicans have been calling Democrats out on, being that raising the cap on the amount people can deduct from their state and local tax returns on their federal tax returns, this will mainly benefit the wealthy. Here is John Thune saying just that.
One of the most egregious provisions in the Democrats' reckless tax and spending spree bill is lifting the cap entirely, removing the cap, well, I should say not removing it entirely, but raising the cap on state and local tax deduction, because it benefits principally millionaires and billionaires in big, high-tax states at the expense of low-tax states like my state of South Dakota, where we don't have an income tax. So states like South Dakota that don't have an income tax end up subsidizing taxpayers in high-tax states like New York and New Jersey and California, by the way, which are the three biggest beneficiaries of this particular provision in the Democrats' reckless tax and spending spree bill. In fact, Senator Grassley has called the BBB the blue state billionaire bailout. And even Bernie Sanders on the Democrats says there is a limit to the hypocrisy among Democrats in actually advocating in their reckless tax and spending spree bill for a provision that literally provides a huge tax cut for millionaires and billionaires and very little benefit, if any, to middle-income taxpayers. In fact, 70% of the benefit of lifting the deduction, the cap on the deduction for state and local taxes, would go to 5% of the taxpayers in this country, the top 5%, and one-third, 33% of that benefit would go to the top 1% of taxpayers in this country. So you literally are talking about a huge amount of money. In fact, it's the second biggest, most costly provision in the Democrats' bill. Would be designed specifically to give a huge tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires in high-tax states. It is just one of many reasons why this bill needs to be defeated, and I would certainly hope that Democrats would come to the conclusion that whether or not they want to spend more and grow government and expand government, which they're doing in all kinds of crazy ways with this bill, that they ought not be allowing millionaires and billionaires to receive a huge tax cut at the same time that middle-income taxpayers are going to receive little to no benefit.
In some other news, with tax season fast approaching, there will be a few different credits you may be able to claim. First off, if you never ended up receiving the third round of $1,400 stimulus checks sent out earlier this year, you will be able to claim that amount when you go to file. And secondly, if you never received your child tax credit payments, or if you have a newborn by the end of this year, you will be able to claim whatever amount you should have received as a credit on your tax returns as well. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive a couple free stocks from Webull, make sure to quickly claim them by clicking my link in the description box below. To receive the first free stock, you will need to fully open an account. Then to receive the second free stock, which will be valued up to $2,000, you'll need to make a qualifying deposit of at least $5. And even if you aren't all that interested in investing or continuing to invest at this point in time, you can always sell the free stocks that you receive and transfer that money, however much they're worth, right back to your bank account. So free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I do hope that everyone has a great and safe rest of their day, and if you did enjoy the content in today's video, it would greatly help me out if you would give this video a like, a big thumbs up. That does help out with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, until next time, I'll see you in the next video.